All right, well, let's bring Mr. Randy Greiner and his Art Walk friends to the podium so we can do a little bit of learning about Art Walk before we meet even more new neighbors and make new friends. Applause for Brandy.
Yeah. So we're gonna preempt the new Elyites today for a group that I've been involved with for 2 years. So shameless plug, but it's been kind of under the radar. Not sure if everybody knows the history of it and who's involved in town, but it's a great it's a great group. So if I could have Kathy Bell, our chairman, come up.
So in 1998, under the auspices of the Voyager Winter Festival, which is now the Ely Winter Festival, the Ely Art Walk was born. And there were 16 artists that displayed about 30 pieces of artwork in downtown windows. And since that time, we have just gotten bigger and better. And we now have about 100 artists in 50 some downtown windows. And we've expanded from just showing for 2 weeks. We have the whole month of February. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Don't mind that.
That's okay. You do that. I'll do this. Let's see. So in 2020, we got a new board, and with that fresh vision, looking at the art walk, we created a different structure and actually have some dedicated personnel, one of which is Karina, who is our coordinator, and she oversees everything that the art walk does, the marketing, the registration of the artists, and there's a whole lot of other hats that she wears. Along with Karina, we have Randy Greiner and Alexia Springer, who I don't think is here. And those are our two setup managers. So the team of the three of them really make the process of getting everybody registered, setting everything up, and taking everything down pretty seamless. I'm getting to her when we get to the team. So the rest of the team then consists of the board, of which Julie Nestor is here. She is our treasurer. And then Carly Wogan in the way back, she does our labels and bios. We also have Liz Anderson, and I don't think she's here, but she is our secretary, and she's also our, she gets all of our stores involved. Let's see. Oh, we can move on. So registration is currently open. You can go to our website, elyartwalk.org, and it's $10 to register. All kinds of artists, all levels, from the very beginner through the consummate professional, are welcome to display their work. We have a variety of mediums, as you saw in the video: painting, photography, sculpture, jewelry. If you create something, it would be great if you would sign up and we could put it in a window. Okay. That's all right. We also have an opening, and this year it's going to be on February 7th. It will be held at the Ely Folk School from 4 to 6. Correct. And you can come there, come out, be social, meet your neighbors, meet the artists, and then you can have a snack from our, I'm going to say world famous, anyways, charcuterie board that we've had for the last couple of years that seems to be a big hit. So come on out, February 7th, 4 to 6 at the Folk School. And then in closing, we'd like to remind everyone of the Minnesota's Give to the Max is on November 21st. And we'd love for you to donate as little or as much as you can. The only way that the Ely Art Walk can do what we do is from donations and grants, and the little bit we get from our $10 artist registration. So give to the max. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I just wanted to introduce myself. It is my face that you saw on the video there. Is that better? I just wanted to introduce myself in person, not at the back of the room. It was my face that you saw in the video earlier. My name's Karina and I do coordinate most of the Ely Art Walk. This will be my 4th year doing it. And me, Alexia, and Randy have been quite the team with of course, the support of our incredible board. And yeah, we're really excited for this year. I feel like we've got it really down, and we're just wanting to get more artists involved every year, and just do as much as we can. And yeah, I think we're more excited this year than ever. Julie.
This is an opportunity for artists to sell their work. You just emphasize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, this is an art show run by artists for artists. And so every piece of work that is bought, everything goes directly to the artist. The only part that we play is putting their work on display in a window in Ely. So yeah, and we make quite a few sales every year. I would say most, if not all, artists make at least one sale if they have a piece up. Yeah, our number one goal is to support artists for sure. And so they get all of the money from every sale. Yeah. Any questions? No questions. So sorry.
Can we ask afterwards? Yeah, just ask afterwards.
I just want to say that was outstanding.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
Broadcast the entire United States.
Love the support. Love the support. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next up is a fellow that I met through Elton a couple weeks ago, Chuck Breen. And he's got a PowerPoint also. So, a lot of visual aids today.
You're just going to do it? The clicker's not, we're having technical difficulties. We'll see how this goes. Happy Tuesday, click it. I'm Chuck Bream, and maybe to help you remember the name, how much wood would a chuck wood, chuck could chuck wood? Woodchuck as much wood as a woodchuck could chuck. If a woodchuck could chuck wood. So I'm Chuck. Click. I'm 90 years old, almost. February 12th. Click. In my time, we went from this phone at the top to the one at the bottom. Click. We went from that airplane to landing on Mars. We went from that typewriter to this. Click. And this is the young couple. I'm a widower. Shirley died in March of 2023. This is June of 1953. We just graduated high school. We wanted to get married. Shirley's parents said, go ahead, get married, but we won't sign for you. It's not that we don't want her to marry you. We don't want to be responsible if the marriage doesn't work. Click. This was Liberty, Indiana. We eloped to Liberty, Indiana. They opened up the courthouse at 7 in the evening, and we got our marriage license, if you can believe that. Click. And this was the Baptist church. It's across the street from the courthouse. We got our license, went over, walking up to the parsonage. The pastor sitting on the porch in his chair, rocking. He says, do you want it in the house or in the church? We said in the church. And when we got into church, there was candles, lights, flowers. 15 minutes later, we were married. Click. Shirley's dad didn't need to worry. 50th wedding anniversary. Click. This was a photo I took of Shirley, and it is my favorite. And I have it on my iPhone, iPad, that every time I open them, she smiles and I say hi. Click. This is our oldest son, Charlie, and wife, Maria. Both of them are retired school teachers in New York State. Click. This is Steve, the middle, and his wife Tina. He's an electrical engineer in Syracuse, New York. Click. This is Owen and Kit, who live here on Hanson Road off of Echo Trail, and I'm living with them. Click. I like quantum physics. Click. Quantum physics isn't as weird as you think it is. It's weirder. There you go. I like digital photography. Click. Here's a bear for you. Out of the, and click. Geology. I like geology. Click. I'm auditing a course on Geology 101 and another one 301 by Nick Zentner over the internet. Click. I am just flabbergasted by the basalt lava deposits that are around here. Click. Click. I also like the universe. The Big Bang, black holes. You know, what is a black hole? Why is it in the middle of a galaxy? What's it do? What's it serve? What's dark energy? What's dark matter? Click. And click. I like to fish. And this is a muskie. It's still in diapers, but it is muskie. Click. I also wood carve. Click. And we can click right through these. And in terms of what my occupation was, I had two occupations. The first one was managing an A&P store. I started 16 sacking groceries with them, and I really wanted to be a manager. And by age 25, I was managing a brand new supermarket in Sturgis, Michigan. And the thing I learned from this is be damn careful about what you pray for, you might get it. So I left A&P and went to college, went to seminary, click. Oh, this was out of order. This is another one of the wood carvings. This is that's a Celtic piece of artwork about a dog, and it hangs in Owen's studio. Okay. I pastored 5 churches, and then I went to Iowa and spent 22 years there on the conference staff. The gentleman with the peace stole was the conference minister. A conference minister in our denomination would be like a bishop. And we 3 associates were with him. Each of us had our own areas of work to do. And that went on for 22 years. Next. Which one's me? That one. And click. In this day and age, when you say you're a clergy, you know, doctors, what kind of doctor are you? Lawyer, what kind of lawyer are you? Clergy, what kind of clergy are you? I call myself progressive. Dr. Shelley, Old Testament, a professor. I turned in a paper. He gave it back to me and he said, you are either the most conservative liberal I've ever met or the most liberal conservative. I don't know which. And that pretty much defines me, I guess. And click. That's all, folks.
It's a tough act to follow there. Okay. Okay, some of Chuck's art is on the table by him back there. All right, our next presenter is a woman I met at snow carving last year in front of Paragus's, Lori Angel.
Thank you, Randy. Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Yes, my name is Lori Angel, and where did I come from? I came from Wisconsin, all the way up here to Ely, and my Wisconsin friends would say, why? Are you crazy? All of those things. But what brought me to Ely initially was the John Bear Grease Sled Dog Marathon. I am a veterinary technician, and I've been a volunteer for the John Bear Grease for going on 14 years, I believe. So I volunteered as a member of the vet team, as a veterinary technician, helping take care of the dogs along the trail, which was super exciting. That happened in 2009, and then in 2010, I attended a conference in Duluth in September on sled dog medicine. And one of the things that you could do was sign up for an extracurricular post-conference activity, getting on a bus to this little town called Ely, Minnesota. I knew nothing about Ely at that time. We got a behind the scenes tour of the Wolf Center, the Bear Center, Steger Mucklucks, Wintergreen. It was just like overwhelming, actually. And I knew then and there that I was going to live here someday. I didn't know when or how it would look. I knew I had to wait until I was retired. But I made my way here. So something like, quite a few years later. I visited Ely off and on during those years, but the last couple of years, I have really kind of set my sights on making it permanent. So that's kind of the overall story. I worked in a college very similar to the college here in town, in Madison, Wisconsin, at a 2-year college in the veterinary technician program for 31 years. And the last 5 years of my tenure at the college was in the biology department. And so I can relate to, the whole college experience as far as working in a college. And I was really excited to see there was a college here in town that does a lot of environmental programs and such. Our college also with a lot of trades, so trying to promote a lot of the trades work down in that area as well. I sold a house just in September in Wisconsin that I lived at for 23 years. So if you've never moved after living somewhere for over 20 years, I can tell you personally that it is overwhelming, especially if you do it by yourself. So I'm single. I've been divorced for quite some time. So the whole endeavor has been just me and my dogs and my cat who came along too. I'm currently renting. I haven't purchased anything yet, so I don't know if that makes me still an Elyiite, but I feel like if you've been here for at least 6 months, you're good. Also, I spent a real winter here 2 years ago. So I was here the year of 22-23, and I stayed at Deer Ridge that winter on Garden Lake. I'm currently on Jasper Lake up on Canadian Border Road, and I absolutely love the solitude and everything that kind of goes along with being on a quiet lake. It's just, it's my dream. A few other facts about me are simply that I love nature. I mean, how can you be here and not love nature? That just doesn't make any sense. I like kayaking. I've done my share of canoeing, but not as much as kayaking. And I did do a Boundary Waters trip, I think it was 2011, that was organized through an outfit place in Madison that puts on the Canoe Copia every spring. So I have done a little bit of the Boundary Waters experience, but that's not really what brought me here. It was really sled dogs, if you just kind of sum it up that way. So obviously I love animals along with loving nature. So that's kind of a given. I like to do yoga. I am a very novice photographer, and I have had compliments on my photography on my Facebook page. A lot of what's going on up here when I'm up here, and my Wisconsin friends got really upset when I said I was closing down my Facebook page because they're living through me and my experience in Ely. So I formed a new Facebook page and let some of them in. So in closing, just a couple of things. One is, you are an Elyite if you have birdseed in your coat pocket. I've learned about feeding the chickadees. It's amazing. And I'd like to just read this little poem about kind of how I feel about being here. Do you see the shadow walking behind me? She's a reminder of the lonely girl I once used to be. Do you see the shadow dancing in front of me? She's the girl I have become, happy, wild, and free. Thank you.
Don't mind this cord. A little bit. You know.
Okay, up next is another woman I've been tracking down finally. And but she's busy. She's a local businesswoman. I'll let her tell you about that. But Jensen Brooks could come up.
For lowering that. So before I start talking, I just want to say my job consists of pretty much working by myself in a room, not talking to anyone. So speaking in front of a lot of people is really awkward. So we'll see what comes out of my mouth right now. Randy's been trying to track me down for quite a while, but finally made it here. I was born and raised in the cities, been up here a couple different times to live up here. I was up here in 99 for a while, going to Vermilion for their wilderness management program, and then left, did a bunch of stuff, was up here again in 2004 with the intention of finishing the wilderness management program, but left again before I finished. And then moved back down to the cities, met my husband, had kids, did all that. And then went through a divorce in 2016, and I thought I'm gonna come back up to Ely. So I came back up here for my third time with my 3 kids. So I have 3 boys up here that go to school up here. They're in 8th grade, they're a sophomore and a senior. So this year I'm just busy wrapping my head around the fact that I have someone graduating and sending them on their way. But what I do up here as a career is I am a self-employed massage therapist, health coach, and personal trainer. And I have a spot above Napa in the old Yugoslav home. Bill Teff, the field naturalist, is up there, and Kurt Lane and Susan Lane and a couple other random people have places up there. Massage therapy. I'm trying to get the word out that I want to do like an all-encompassing wellness program. I've been doing massage for about 10 years, but the health coaching and personal training is fairly new, and not a lot of people know I do that. I want to offer a program, or I'm starting to offer a program where I work with people to cultivate wellness on an overall level, because I believe your body is capable of amazing things if given the right tools. I work a lot with women, mainly with women. I do work with men, but we just kind of have to do a little like interview first to see if we're a good match. With the massage, I do, Swedish massage, relaxation, some deep tissue stuff, focusing on trigger point stuff, cupping, hot stone massage. I've got, the hot stones and a table warmer and a space heater. So it's really nice in my room in the winter time. And then with the personal training, I really want to encourage people to utilize what we have up here. We do have 2 great gyms, and I encourage the use of a gym, but I also really want to encourage people to move their body and be physically active in a way that they find enjoyable. So whether that's dog sledding or canoeing or running, skiing. We live in such an amazing area, and you don't necessarily have to go to the gym to keep your body moving and stay in shape. So, and even like at-home workouts, some people are intimidated by the gym, or they don't know what to do when they go to the gym. So I want to work with people and encourage them and remind them that you can work out at home. We have, this beautiful wilderness area around us. My catch line or tagline right now, my catchphrase is helping people cultivate a life of wellness through body work, nutrition, and fitness. So that's what I do. And then when I'm not working, I'm just busy driving my kids around to all of their sports. So That's baseball and skiing are their two big sports. So we do, yeah, skiing starts today. Well, skiing started yesterday. We were out of town, so it starts today. Evenings are hard for me to see anyone because I'm driving kids around, but reach out to me. And I don't have anything online about like nutrition or personal training because it's all personal. But if you reach out to me and just Google Jessie or massage in Ely, my name will pop up, and then you can always get a hold of me and ask me questions. That's it. Thank you.
All right, next up is a couple I met here, I believe, Bill and Sharon Cutler. They're really new to Ely. Right, right.
You're everywhere.
Right, you are everywhere.
It's like you've been here for 3 years.
Wow.
We're just gonna say, first of all, we do not have a PowerPoint program. We do not have children. We bring ourselves, but we're all in. That's.
So I'm the Bill part and she's the Sharon part. And in about a month, we'll be married 45 years. So we think that's kind of cool. Yeah, can't quite believe how that time flew by, but anyway, we moved here from Dubuque, Iowa. We owned a dental practice there. I was the dentist, Sharon was the dental hygienist. We had a variety of people we worked with, and we loved helping them get healthy. So that was really important to us. And then some things transpired and I retired and Sharon had already retired, and we said, why don't we move to Ely? And I'll let her talk more about that in a little bit, but I'm originally from Moline, Illinois, which is the home of John Deere, if that means anything to anybody. It meant something to somebody. Okay, we'll go with that. I went to school at the University of Iowa, which is a mere quick 60 miles west of Moline. I always kidded my folks that we lived about 2 miles too far east because I paid out of state tuition for the whole time in Iowa, but oh well. Graduated from there and from dental school and spent 2 years in the Air Force in San Antonio, Texas. And then I moved to Dubuque and worked for a while in a group practice. And after that, started our own practice. And Sharon came along for the ride there, and I'll pass it along to you.
He doesn't like to say that he hired me because that kind of sounds bad, but that's how we met. And so, so we got married, and that was more, more than what I knew I was getting into, and a lot of job security. I grew up about 20 miles west of Fargo in a little town called Castleton in North Dakota. So the Ely winters don't worry me a bit. I'm a farm girl from North Dakota. But when I was 17, I boarded an airplane. For my first airplane ride, I went from Fargo, North Dakota to Honolulu, Hawaii. And I ended up working as well, I knew I was going to work as a nanny because I needed to make money to go to college, because I was planning to go back to North Dakota, become a social worker and save the world. But I worked for a family that the dad was a dentist. And he said to me one day, you know, you'd make a really good dental hygienist. And I said, oh, what's that? And with that, Dr. and Mrs. Guerin helped me get my career path going. I graduated from the University of Hawaii in the School of Nursing and became a dental hygienist, and ended up, my first job, other than working for Dr. Guerin, was in Dubuque, Iowa. So that's kind of how that all happened. And for me, as a career person, my dental hygiene background, it took me to a lot of wellness, facilitative health care in a lot of different venues. And I guess that's what I look back on as our time in Dubuque. We had our practice, but I was able to work in hospital dentistry with a pediatric dentist, Head Start consultant, I was involved in all the school systems with the dental health programs and in care facilities, helping care workers know about dental health and in prenatal health care. So besides working as a clinician, my career really was in health facilitation. So both Bill and I have been very involved in our professional associations, and along the way, I really enjoy gardening. I became a master gardener, and which is a good match because I love cooking and eating and preserving what I grow. And even though Bill is a city kid, he really likes the farm to table approach that we have for health and lifestyle. And I enjoy books. I've already joined a couple book groups here. And I like volunteering. I see that there's tons of opportunities for that. One of the main places I did was tutoring English as a second language, and also working at our film festival in Dubuque. So I'm finding my wheelhouse here, and it's been relatively easy. It's really been kind of nice. So.
And I love to camp. I love to walk. I like to play golf. I like to fish. I'm not very good at catching, but I like to fish. I, as Sharon said, love to eat good food, enjoy some good wine. And I love working and being with people that are caring and concerned. So I'm finding that all of those also fit really well in Ely. We moved here late in May, and but my story actually started way back in 1965, because I graduated from high school that year, and I have no idea where this idea popped into my brain, but a buddy and I decided we wanted to go on a canoe trip. So I contacted Bill Rom's Canoe Country Outfitters, and in late August, might even have been just barely into September, he and I hopped in my mother's VW Bug and drove from Moline, Illinois to Ely, Minnesota. Got here early enough that we picked up our gear that we'd rented that evening and figured out a route we were going to take, and got up the next morning, and because we were really excited, and drove out to the Bill Rom space on Moose Lake, and are hammering on the door of the trailer. Understand it's pitch dark out.
But they're
saying,
excited.
we're ready to go. And finally, some gruff guy opens the door and says, basically, what the hell are you doing bothering me? And get out of here, come back when it's light. So we hung out in our car for a couple of hours and then went back. And the guy was amazingly nice to us. I don't think I would have been nearly that nice if somebody had pounded on my door at 4 a.m. But anyway, he checked us out and showed us a little bit about the canoe and helped us load our gear in the canoe. And Mike and I got in the canoe and we paddled off and got about 30 yards out from the shore, did a complete circle out there in the lake, kind of vaguely started to figure out what we were doing, and off we went. Now, I personally bet I never checked this out, but that guy that checked us out on the canoe probably already put an X on that canoe, figured it was never going to come back, and neither were we. But a week later, hey, we made it back. And I remember so much about that trip today. It's like it was a magic time for me. So then 2 years, or then college happened, and then 2 years in the Air Force. And then, like I said, moved back to Dubuque and started working there, and managed to fit a couple trips in to come back up here, and both of which were less than fun trips. And I learned that, one, you better pick your partner that you're going canoeing with really well. And two, not being a huge guy myself, you better pick somebody that's at least as strong as you are, and that maybe knows more than you do to go off into the boundary waters. So I learned that. Then Sharon entered the picture, and I don't know that she knew more about canoeing, but she was at least willing to put up with me. And so I had learned just enough to know that maybe we don't jump right into a canoe trip. So we came up here and rented a cabin for a week at Cushwe Lodge and paddled our canoe around Lake One for a couple of days. And, you know, when we were done with that, she said, I think we could go camping up here, because she already had camped, and we decided that would be a fun thing to do. And so ever since then, I've rarely missed a year in Ely, coming up and going with friends or Sharon, a lot of male friends, and sometimes I came up alone and loved all of those trips. Let's go back to you.
Well, so I'm gonna bring us up to a year ago, this past August, when we were still living in Dubuque, and I walked into the living room and Bill was reading the Boundary Waters Journal, which he read always cover to cover. And so I saw him sitting there on the couch, and I noticed there was a little tear kind of coming down his face. And I thought, well, this is one of those articles that he's getting all emotional about and having a moment. But I said, honey, what's wrong? And he said, I miss Ely. So I said, well, you know, we're retired now. We don't have patients scheduled. We can actually just get up and go. And so we compromised that, no, we wouldn't be portaging. Yes, we could do car camping, but we compromised on Fall Lake, so we could be on the border of the Boundary Waters, but we could not have to, you know, do a lot of planning. So we showed up without any reservations, which was very rare for us to do anytime. We stayed at Fall Lake for a week. And it was a week that was very rainy. So it was the first time that we had been to Ely, that it wasn't just to eat and sleep and go paddle and then eat and sleep and be gone. We actually spent the week in Ely. And it was about Wednesday when I looked at Bill and I said, you know, I think we could live here. We knew that we had a big place in Dubuque on a hill that overlooked the Mississippi, and I had an acre of gardens, and we knew that there was going to be some point that we would need to find a place, but we never had figured out where that next place would be. And by the time we left that week, we started interviewing all the wait staff, like, what do you like about living in Ely? You know, what do you like about here? And by the end of the week, we checked all the boxes, the nursing home care, the hospital, all of those kinds of things. And so that was August. By January 1st, we had found a place to rent. And that's the whole story in itself. We didn't realize the whole real estate issues that would be facing us, but we had a place to stay and a place to go to. And we started divesting of our home and our property and our practice, and doing the whole, somebody that said about living in a house and trying to, you know, downsize. We did all that, all the donations and all that kind of stuff. So with that, we moved to Ely, and honestly, our original intuition and gut feeling is exceedingly good. And we have everything about Ely has exceeded our expectations. And we know it's a good choice.
I think it's just back to the present in a way. So in February, we loaded a truck in Dubuque with a lot of help from some friends and young, strong people, and drove it up here and got to meet Joe Rasmussen, that was the agent in charge of the house. And he should be on the board for Welcome to Ely, because he's been a great friend over the 6 months that we've been here. But I know that all of the people I've met in Ely did not like last winter. It was boring, it was warm, it was this, it was that. And I could certainly relate to that, because we were here during the Winter Festival and we got to watch those beautiful ice sculptures melt to nothing in a few days. I mean, it was tragic. But I got to tell you, as somebody that was unloading a truck, 40 degrees and sunshine was really good. And it was so good that we went out that night and celebrated, and then came home. And as I parked the car in the garage and walked to the house, I tripped on the asphalt driveway and went down flat on the asphalt. And we got to spend a few hours in the ER at the Ely Hospital. And, you know, I had a gash in the head and I had a broken finger. And I had an incredibly wonderful time at the ER. And we felt cared for.
Yeah.
And people truly gave a rip about what was going on and took good care of us. And it was like, wow, welcome to Ely. And we've had that experience ever since, that everybody has said, welcome to Ely, and we love it.
Got it. So, the end of the saga is that, we were at the boathouse the day after Bill did the faith plant and met, actually some friends of Jess's who said, no, when you come back, be sure you go to the Ely group. And so that's the first place we showed up when we got here in May. And I can say, without exception, anybody we've met has said, welcome to Ely. And I know they truly mean it. And we met Stacy and Jess and Randy. That was our first day here. And so there's not been a Tuesday group that we haven't come to, that we haven't made another connection, that we haven't written down one of those community announcements. And we've planted ourselves at least once a week in a place we've never been before, with people we've never met before that are now becoming friends that we recognize their faces. So thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, we got permission to go a little longer tonight from the Grand Ely Lodge. So our next presenters are really new Elyites. I forgot how we met, but we met. Oh, at the folk school social. That's right. That we were on a Jeopardy team together and lost. Jeopardy Ely and lost. Right. Right. So I'd like to welcome Jen and Jason Raybuck.
Thank you for your patience.
You know, it's funny, I do a lot of things like this for work. And I told myself when I came here tonight, I was not going to talk about work. Work is different than who I am. I just got back from a week in Gettysburg at the battlefield. And we took a group of students, state and federal employees from across the country out there to talk about leadership. And one of the questions we asked them is, who are you? Second question we asked them is, why are you here? Why are you here studying leadership on the battlefield? Who are you? Why are you here? And I've heard you, many of you already start answering that question. Who are you? Why are you in Ely? And it has nothing to do with work. It has to do with who you are as individuals. And there's a theme there. So who am I? Who are we? And why are we here? Well, yeah, I'm an employee of something, but I'm a wife. Been a wife for going on almost 30 years here. Been a mom for 23 years. I'm a pet owner of everything from equines in our past to canines and felines in our present. And we also were welcome to the Ely Veterinary Clinic, right in short order upon our visit here, and felt very loved and taken care of. And if they can take care of our children, we don't take care of us as well, right? I'm certainly a nature lover, everything we've talked about. I haven't dog sledded yet, although that's something I'm interested in. We've ski doored, we love skiing, we love hiking. My first experience with Ely, though, we were talking about going on vacation, and Jason said, oh, let's go to the Boundary Waters and paddle around. And I was like, no. I want something active. I don't want to sit in a canoe. I want to be more active. And he looked at me and went, yeah, we're going to go to the Boundary Waters. I'm hooked, needless to say. I did sit in a canoe and I was grateful to use that part of my anatomy, but that was the only part that got a break, was just my back end. Everything else was still in motion, from my brain and my senses and my muscles. And then you got to carry things and use other parts of you. And I think that's just a lot about who we are. I like to make a difference. I like to see progress. I like to invest in myself. I like to feel challenged. I like to have fun, and I like to learn. That's who I am. And what brings us here is this passion for Ely, and the fact that suddenly at some point life just kind of snowballs and it gets ahead of you. And we were sitting in northern Wisconsin between Hayward and Spooner. Our daughter had moved away, bye-bye, enjoy, off to college, off to her life, which she should be doing. That's what success as a parent looks like, right? I had moved up in my job to the point where I didn't have to go to a brick and mortar office. I could just go to one of these kind of offices with a screen. And suddenly there was no anchor. our beautiful place that we had established was set up for horses and we no longer had a horse herd. So at some point we just said, what are we doing here? Where would we like to be? Why are we here? We said, you know what, let's take a jump. Let's go to Ely, this place that we talked about. So we started looking in that 14, 16-month saga, came to an abrupt climax in July of this past year. We sold our house. We had an auction after 17 years of being there. That is a stressor, let me tell you. It was hard to see truckloads of things leave our yard, but it was also liberating and empowering and amazing. And you know what? Neither one of us have really thought about that place that we invested so much of ourselves in. Bye-bye, new owners. Thank you. Enjoy. What are we getting into next? This learning, this sense of adventure, this having fun, this being one with a community, which is my other piece of why am I here? You guys have all said it really well through the community announcements, through the reasons that other people are here, because there are people like me here. There are people like you all that are here for the same reason that resonate with us. That's why I'm here, because I want to volunteer. I want to give back. I want to find that sense of community and invest in that sense of community for the next people who get to stand up here and introduce themselves. So that's a little bit about who I am, tad about who we are, and certainly a lot about why am I here.
Yeah, what she said. So I'm Jason. Hi. It's my amazing wife, Jim. So yeah, when you decide you're going to do it and go and change, you can't stop it. And so our journey, you know, has been kind of a long time in the making. I kind of like to tell a few people too, as they're asking, what brought you here? I've been trying to get to Ely for 21 years. I went on my first trip with a buddy of mine and we came out a day early. It was constant rain and, you know, we did Ely. And I came home and I said, can we move there? Can you get a job with the Forest Service? And she was working for the Fish and Wildlife Service at the time. I don't want to do that. I just started this job or whatever, you know. Okay, so then we moved on. But yeah, and so I'm going to kind of use 2022 and some things that were happening for me as a springboard too, to tell you how we got here. So that was the year I really changed things up. I had been a farrier, horseshoer, and a horse trainer for many years. And I realized I didn't want to do that anymore, couldn't do it anymore. You know, physically, couldn't really keep up with that. So, you know, I started thinking about wilderness and my time in the wilderness in the backcountry and wanted more of that. And the other thing that was happening around me, which I think is also interesting, that we maybe don't talk enough, but once you have been around long enough, you see the places that you love and have enjoyed start to really change. And what was happening in my immediate vicinity was they were cutting all the trees down. It's as simple as that. And my county forest around me, all the places I used to go grouse hunting, turkey hunting, deer hunting, started to change. And so there was a bit of a sadness, a bit of a longing for the bigger experience. So with that, I got a position out in the Bighorn Mountains that summer. It was essentially a volunteer position with supporting the Forest Service mission. I worked with Wilderness Alliance and the Wilderness Watch Group. And I documented visitor use in the wilderness and covered over 350 miles, 192 sites, really a quite a transformative experience. My buddy Aja, my dog, my lab was with me, falling off the mountains and almost drowning in the rivers. And Jen joined me when she could. We had our camper parked out there. So that really kind of catapulted me into the experiences that I wanted to, you know, get back to, start enjoying at this phase in my life. So with that, we had toyed with moving out west. Ultimately, you know, we just came back and settled back into our life. The horses were gone. We weren't doing that anymore. Things were changing and we were in this stasis, this weird spot, right? So the boundary waters kept popping up, and even when I was out west, and just kind of longing for it to be closer to those kinds of experiences. And so that's really where we settled, and just so glad to be here. So yeah, when you go, you really go. So as I mentioned, I was a farrier horse trainer. The other things I've been involved with for many years is I'm a musician. And I play harmonica, guitar, and sing. And I had a blues band and a duo. I played solo. And I'm kind of taking a break from all that. Of course, with the move, everything's weird, right? But I hope to get back into that. I actually brought some CDs here. And you're welcome to have one if you'd like one. Just thank you for coming out to these events. So yeah, so I got some information there. And then the other thing I do is I make handmade knives and leather work. So I'm an artist there. I'm really looking forward to the art walk because that's a cool event. We did an art crawl by us. So yeah, kind of setting up my stuff for that. What else? My interests are many. I still always try to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I hunt. I call it armed nature walk. And we see a lot of interesting things out there. And I fish and we love the canoe and been just kind of radiating out, doing day trips all end of summer and really getting to know the area in a way that I'm really enjoying. That's about it. We're looking forward to being part of the community. We live real close to town, just 5 miles south. It's the closest we've ever lived to a town. Anything else, dude?
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your willingness to stay. This is truly my favorite Tuesday group tradition to be able to hear your stories and meet the new folks. And thank you so much to Randy for making it possible. And we look forward to seeing you all next week.